de-dollarization is happening, and it's happening really fast. And when you look at the policies of the West, it's almost, I don't believe this is true because I don't think the capitalist class is trying to tank their wealth on purpose. But you almost like, if you wanted to tank the dollar, you would do everything that the West has done. I'd say like this. And this is a stat that blew my mind. I think a lot of people don't know about it, that the United States currently sanctions 1/3 of the world's population.
Wow.
And people still think we're the good guys. Look, the U.S. war on defense list. Sanctions harm 1/3 of the world's people. and people have no idea what sanctions mean. They were like, oh, we put sanctions on this country. Liberals think that they don't think twice about it. Sanctions is economic war. Yeah. And this is what's gonna, and I'll pass it to you, Lee. I want to get your thoughts on de-dollarization and all this. But you want to know what's gonna accelerate this? You already had the Biden policy of putting sanctions on Russia, which woken a lot of these countries up because they realized that the United States can punish them if they don't agree with their foreign policy. And then, which I think Trump is going to win this election, you already had Trump that's saying the most craziest shit I've seen, that when he take office, he's going to destroy the dollar. Look at this one. And I'll pass to you, Lee, for your general thoughts. Trump plans to sanction countries for refusing to use the dollar. So guess what that's going to do? That's going to motivate countries to de-dollarize more. But go ahead, Lee. You have any general thoughts about the trend that's going on?
Yeah, I'm glad you call it economic war, because sanctions sounds too light, and people do die. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, die from economic war. The economic war the U.S. is doing. The U.S. has sanctions on 30-some countries. I believe it still is. And the closest second country is, I don't know which one, but has sanctions on like 5 or something. So the U.S. is the leader by far in economic war. But in terms of what you're talking about, de-dollarization, I'm glad you bring that up. It is a point that I keep bringing up because on my live streams, because it is at the heart of just about every behavior the U.S. does. It's at the heart of why the U.S. is so supportive of the Israeli settler colonial system. It's at the heart of the Ukrainian proxy war. It's at the heart of our ongoing Cold War with China. All of these things come down to the fact, and I'll try and sum it up in 3 sentences. I'm sure you've talked about it many times, but that the U.S. dollar, the reason the U.S., unlike just about any other country, can print as much money as we want. I mean, it's not really printed, but make up as much money as we want, and it doesn't lose most of its value, unlike other countries, is for 2 reasons. It's the global reserve currency, the U.S. dollar, and it's the petrodollar. But the 2 reasons are linked, because the moment fossil fuels stop being sold and bought in U.S. dollars, then it will no longer be the global reserve currency. So basically, the U.S. has an existential motivation to fight for fossil fuel use and to fight against any country who is selling and buying oil outside of the U.S. dollar. And that is the existential reason that we're going after China and Russia. It's the reason we upended and destroyed the societies of Syria, of Iraq, of Afghanistan with pipelines, etc. And at every turn, you can really, Venezuela, of course, has one of the largest oil reserves in the world. That explains our extreme hatred of them. And it's just at the heart of everything. And of course, BRICS is very important too, but I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, and BRICS is making it clear that that's their goal. They have a big summit. I want to say August. I'm blank on the month, but they have a summit later this year where they may discuss adding new members. I know Nigeria, and a few other countries are looking to join. But the main objective of this summit is the discussion of de-dollarization. Like, that's their primary objective right now. You have a new trade agreement signed with Russia and China where they're gonna exchange only using their currency, the yuan and the ruble. And you guys see here, de-dollarization. BRICS is getting ready to give the dollar a run for its money. And now we're seeing Western officials once again being smacked in their mouth for comments they made in the past, because when BRICS was formed, they was laughed at by the West. And now everything that BRICS does, and this whole concept, with the way you put it, is perfect. Every foreign policy move they're making is based on this, a concept that they laughed about just 15 years ago or so. Now,
yeah,
one more.
BRICS is
So
very
anything you want
important.
to add before you move on, real quick? Anything else you want to add, Lee Camp?
Oh, just that for those who don't know much about BRICS, it's this alignment, cooperation between governments, and it started out as just those five: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, I think. But now it's many, many other countries have joined in. Even Saudi Arabia wanted to be connected to BRICS, which our alignment with Saudi Arabia is the entirety of the petrodollar system. So if Saudi Arabia leaves the petrodollar system, then the U.S. is done. The U.S. dollar is done. But yeah, BRICS is very important, and and it's also the reason we coup so many countries around the world, or facilitate coups or color revolutions. It's the reason we helped put Bolsonaro into power with the lawfare against Lula, and to get Brazil out of BRICS. Argentina, which we successfully used lawfare to put in a right-wing lunatic who's there now. They've dropped out of BRICS, which before President Milei, they were joining BRICS. So you just see this again and again. The U.S. facilitates coups, invasions. The invasions are really reserved for, the worst of the worst, where we're really afraid they're going to have a lot of oil and sell it in something other than dollars, like Libya and Gaddafi were about to. But the coups and the lawfare coups are more prominent these days.
Yeah, one last quick rapid fire question I have for you is regarding this new drive for third parties in the Ban Biden movement. Now, you guys know I hate celebrity culture. I don't cover celebrity culture, but I'm gonna tell you what Cardi B said. Someone who's extremely popular. Cardi B tells Rolling Stone that she will not be voting in this year's upcoming presidential election. I don't fuck with both of y'all. Base Cardi B. Cardi B is more based than you guys think on politics. I heard her saying some stuff like, damn, what? Cardi said that? But the reason I'm saying it is because I don't really care about celebrity state, but this is the message being spread to young people. We were saying the Ban Biden movement. I seen a poll where Jill Stein is at 4%. You guys know third parties only need 5% to hit federal funding. And now there's this debate, because I'm going to wrap this question all up in one here. This bullshit debate between Biden and Trump. And one of the things that they said must happen for this debate to happen is RFK Jr. must be banned from the stage. And we all know RFK Jr. is also the person who refused to debate Dr. Jill Stein. So my last question for you, Lee, I want to get your overall thoughts about, and it's mostly tied to Biden genocide in Gaza. They can make up a lot of bullshit, but this is why we are seeing the mass exodus. So I want to get your thoughts on that and the potential rise of third parties, and you got your thoughts on that in general.
I mean, this system, so yeah, the two parties are one party. They agree on 90% of the structural issues of this country and foreign policy. And so Democrats and Republicans are essentially one party, and they absolutely do not want a third party. They are more scared of a third party than they are of either Trump, or I'm talking about the ruling elite, either Trump or Biden getting into office. And unfortunately, RFK Jr. is also pro-genocide as well. So, but he did recently say that a parasite ate part of his brain. So maybe it was the part that tells him to be against genocides. Anyway, so they don't want anyone else on that debate stage. They have worked for years to make sure that a Jesse Ventura situation does not happen to them, where Jesse Ventura, as a third-party candidate, won the governor of Minnesota, essentially completely because of his performance on the debate stage. And of course, Ross Perot back in the 90s, he didn't win, but he changed the result of the election. And so they have worked every day to make sure there is no third party. Jill Stein notoriously was arrested for trying to attend the 2012 debate as she was running for president. She was arrested and chained to a chair in a basement of a police station until the debate was over. So that's this free democracy we have in this country. It's completely laughable. There are good candidates running. I've interviewed on my live stream, as have you, Cornel West, Jill Stein, and Claudia De La Cruz. I also am the campaign manager for a rock I found in my yard who's running for president. And trust me, he is more cogent than Biden or Trump.
Nothing but good things about him.
He has a website, yardrock2024.com. Check him out. But yeah, no, they absolutely do not want anything outside the two-party capitalist system. That is more threatening to them than just about anything else.
Always great to have you on, Lee. Always fun as well. Where can they find you?
Yeah, all my stuff is at linktree.com/Lee Camp. But if you're just looking on YouTube for my show, you can probably look up my name, but also Dangerous Ideas is the name of the show. But yeah, you look up Lee Camp and you should find it pretty easily.